have accumulated over $100,000 of net worth in the past 3 years. And at the beginning, everything was just so difficult, even though trying to save for the first 10K. And as it turns out, I wasn't the only one. 51% of Americans have less than $5,000 or less in savings. And 34% of adults living in the UK either have no savings or less than £1,000 in their savings account. So in this video, I want to talk about the method or the mindset that would help saving $10,000 as quick as possible. So whether you're trying to save for a deposit for a house, a big trip, or just trying to save for that well-needed emergency fund, having a clear strategy and the right mindset can make all the difference, and that is what we are discussing in this video. So how does one save $10,000 as quick as possible? So for example, in this video, let's say you want to save $10,000 in a year. The thing is, $10,000 sound pretty big, and for some of us that sounds unachievable. But the key to save the big amount is to break it down to small victories. Small saving goals are easier to manage and easier to conquer mentally. So in order to save $10,000 in a year, you need to save $833.33 in a month. Or you can save $192.31 in a week. Or if you want to break it down into an even smaller daily actionable step, you need to save $27.40 a day. Now with this approach, you won't just focus on this huge amount that you feel like is unattainable. You'll be focusing on 1 month at a time, 1 week at a time, and 1 day at a time. So perhaps ask yourself this question: how many times in a week do you actually spend $27 a day on unnecessary things? This is the exact question that I asked myself when I started my personal finance journey, and I was frankly quite surprised with the answer. And if you ask yourself this very same question, you might be surprised with your own answer as well. Now let's say you spend $27 2 times a week, or maybe 3 times a week on the things that you don't need or the things that you don't value. Now then ask yourself the next question: what if you knew that spending $27 on something that you don't value or unnecessary? What if you knew that spending that money is a contributing factor to you wasting $10,000? Would you still spend that money, or would you make a different spending decision? The author of the book Latte Factor actually outlines this concept perfectly, where small tiny amount of spending over time eventually adds up to a huge saving. If you decide to spend $5 daily on coffee, that adds up to $71,000 in 20 years. If you decide to spend $5 weekly on coffee, that adds up to $10,000 in 20 years. So in another word, the small little expenses that you're spending now will actually add up to something that you wish you had, which is the $10,000. Okay, so now we understand the mindset. We understand that we need to break the amount down into tiny little victories so that we can aim to take actionable steps every single day, every single week, every single month to reach that goal. But how do we do this practically? So these are the things that I found helpful in order to keep the right mindset while trying to reach my saving goals. Understand the big picture. Do understand that every time we spend money on something that is unnecessary, something that we don't value, something that is not what we actually need as individual, we are actually pushing that 10K saving further and further down the line. The money that we are spending now is frankly the money that we will not have. And of course, I am not sitting here to judge anyone or judge how much you spend, because I understand that each of us do have different priorities and different needs, and what we deem necessary may be different. But having an understanding of the bigger picture and understand what is deemed as necessary for each of us as individual will help you saving towards your 10K goal. The next thing I find helpful is to ask myself, how many hours do I have to work to get to $27? An average salary here in the UK in year 2021 was £38,000, or $48,000, which works out to roughly around $22 per hour. So before spending $27 a day on something, think about how many hours you have to work to get to that. If you are on average salary, that means that you have to work more than 1 hour to afford something with a price tag of $27. So do you really want to do that? A lot of times when I ask myself this same question, it really grounds me, and most of the time my answer will be no, because I really value my time. And $22 per hour is actually just purely basing on working hour. Let's say if you're someone who has to commute 1 hour each way to work, your pay is going to be lower than $22. Another thing I find helpful when it comes to taking small actionable daily steps is to think about what is your plan for the next day. Think about what you need to do, and with that, how much do you need to spend, and is there any possibility to cut down the spending? So let's say if you're someone who has to go into the office to work, your expenses on a daily basis will be on your commute, and let's say you normally grab coffee in the morning, and let's say you also buy lunch. However, you know that the next day you are meeting your friends after work for dinner. What you can do is cutting down on certain things because you know that you are going to have that additional expense. So you can choose what you can skip. Instead of buying coffee, you might want to bring your own coffee for the day. Instead of buying lunch out for that day, you might want to bring your own lunch, and then you can enjoy your dinner with your friend. Saving 10K may sound like a big goal, but with a bit of planning, effort, and breaking things down into small victories can really help you reaching that goal. Thank you so much for watching, and let me know in the comments if you found this video helpful. I hope you have a wonderful day wherever you are, and I will see you in the next one.